Welcome to Hoffmann-Photography. My name is Rainer, and in today's video we'll have a closer look at my good old Monorail view camera and how it works. My Monorail view camera is a 4x5 inch camera. That means it uses 4x5 inch sheet film. And this size is the smallest of the large format films, but compared to our common digital sensors, it's quite large. And consequently, the camera itself is a bit bigger than our modern DSLRs or DSLMs. Let's go have a look. This is a camera without lens and without film holder. It's actually a very simple design, much simpler than a modern digital camera. The monorail is the base of the camera. This is a front standard that holds the lens, and this is the rear standard that holds the ground glass and the film holder. The standards are connected with a bellows. When the lens and the ground glass are not installed, you can see right through the camera. There's really nothing inside. The lens is mounted in a lens board. This is a 150mm lens, which is a standard lens or the normal lens for a 4x5 inch camera. The lens has a built-in leaf shutter, sometimes called a central shutter. The lens board is mounted in the front standard. The ground glass or focusing screen is mounted in the rear standard. Now we are all set and the camera is ready for use. First we need to open the shutter and set the aperture to the largest opening, so we have the brightest possible image on the ground glass, that is f5.6 on this lens. Of course the image is upside down and it's out of focus. So next is focusing. Focusing is done by moving one of the standards forward or backward. In most cases, it doesn't really matter which standard is used for focusing, but since you have to watch the ground glass to see when the image is sharp, it's usually more convenient to use the rear one. Now it's time to close and cock the shutter. And to set shutter speed and aperture based on the exposure metering with a handheld exposure meter. The film holder contains two sheets of film, one on each side. The film is protected from light by a dark slide. The ground glass is pulled back and the film holder slides into place. Now the dark slide can be removed and the image can be taken by releasing the shutter. Then the dark slide is replaced and the film holder is removed. As you just saw, using a monorail view camera is a pretty slow affair. And I guess you can imagine that these cameras are not really well suited for sports and action photography. But I haven't told you yet what really sets monorail view cameras apart from all other camera types. And that's the possible movements of the forward and rear standard apart from focusing, that is. And these movements there are four, and these movements are called rise, fall, shift, tilt, and swing. Rise and fall is the up and down movement of the standard. It is perhaps the most important movement. It's often used in architecture photography to avoid converging parallels when taking images of high buildings without having to tilt the camera upwards. Shift is in principle the same as rise and fall, but in the horizontal direction.
Normally, the axis of the lens is perpendicular to the film. This means that the plane of sharp focus is parallel to the film plane. Changing the angle between the lens axis and the film by tilting the lens standard backwards or forwards tilts also the plane of sharp focus. Then objects close to the camera and far away from the camera can be in focus at the same time without having to stop down the lens too much. Tilt is especially useful in landscape photography. Swing is generally the same movement as tilt, but in the horizontal plane. Of course, the rise, fall, shift and tilt swing movements of the standards can be combined, like this. That is sometimes necessary in product photography.
That was a short and quite incomplete overview over monorail view cameras. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.